Muy buenas noches. Good evening, everyone. Muchas gracias a todos que nos estén sintonizando. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in on tonight's reading. On behalf of Beyond Baroque Literary Arts Center, I wanted to thank you all for joining us tonight for a bilingual poetry reading titled Sin Vergüenza, Without Shame, with four wonderful authors, Leonora Simonovis, Olga García Echeverría, Iris de Anda, and Lisbeth Coiman, all of whom are poets currently living in Southern California with roots from all over Latin America. My name is Ivan Salinas, and I'm the Poetry Coalition Fellow in Programs and Communication at Beyond Baroque, and will be hosting tonight's reading. Before we get started, I just wanted to mention a few things about Beyond Baroque. First, I'd like to acknowledge Beyond Baroque's presence in the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples. We acknowledge the wrong done to these peoples through settler colonialism, genocidal practices, and the violent dispossession of their land. As a literary arts organization, we are committed to uplifting Indigenous communities, their stories, and cultures. As many of you know, Beyond Baroque is a literary space in Venice, California, and we are dedicated to the artistic possibilities of language through cultivating new writing, presenting contemporary literature and art, and building a diverse literary community. We've got ongoing free online workshops every Monday in fiction and every Wednesday in poetry, which you can find more info through our website. We'll be posting links to those in the chat. We also have a couple of upcoming programs as well. On February 23rd, we'll be hosting author Obed Silva in conversation with Fresno poet Sara Borjas, as Obed Silva recently published his debut memoir, The Death of My Father, the Pope. As we're in the month of February, we're also celebrating Black History Month. And on Sunday, February 27th, we'll be having a tribute reading hosted by our President Board of Trustees, Shonda Buchanan. A Night of Love will be in honor of Black feminist scholar, poet, and critic Bell Hooks, as she recently passed away in December. There will be poetry readings by Derek Weston Brown, Pat Payne, and many more authors carrying on the legacy of Bell Hooks' ideas and writings. So please be on the lookout for those events happening later this month and find more details through our website or social media. I did want to mention we will soon be launching the Amanda Gorman Featured Voices Poetry Prize. Amanda took her very first poetry workshop at Beyond Baroque, which started her on a journey to becoming the United States' first youth poet laureate, and then the youngest ever US presidential inaugural poet. In order to encourage the next generation of great poets, we are launching this new poetry prize, which will provide $10,000 this year to young poets of color. There are two tracks for the prize, one for 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, and a separate one for college-bound seniors. So please check out our website for more information about that. The pandemic continues to have real effects on arts nonprofit finances, and I would therefore very much appreciate any donations you can make as part of the evening. You'll find a link in the chat or on our website. And even more so, I would really appreciate it if you'd consider supporting our writers by buying their books. We'll have a link for those in the chat. So now on to our program. Muchas gracias a nuestra organizadora, Lisbeth Coiman. Thank you so much, Lisbeth, for assembling a wonderful set of authors that use their poetic voice to address important sociopolitical issues, such as immigration and the forced displacement of communities, social justice, and uprisings throughout the Americas. We're very excited to hear your poems and from all our features tonight. And thank you so much to Angeline Keck, who is running things behind the scenes for tonight's reading. So to get us started, please know we'll be posting the links in the chat where you can access titles of all the featured readers tonight. And now let's welcome our first feature of the night. Demos la bienvenida a nuestra primera poeta de la noche. Leonora Simonovis is a Venezuelan-American writer and the author of the poetry collection Study of the Raft. Winner of the 2021 Colorado Prize for Poetry, she lives in San Diego, California, and teaches Latin American literature and creative writing in Spanish at the University of San Diego. Her work has appeared in Gargoyle, Quelly Journal, Dio Journal, and Inverted Syntax, among others. Her work explores issues of displacement, political surveillance, exile, and womanhood in relation to the land and the environment. Leonora, bienvenida.
Muchas gracias, Iván, y gracias, Lisbeth, por organizarnos, motivarnos, empujarnos y reunirnos. Thank you, Ivan, for the introduction, and thank you, Lisbeth, for inviting us and motivating us and pushing us to become better poets and for getting us together. I'm really honored to be sharing the stage and poems with you all. I'm going to start by reading a poem in Spanish by the Venezuelan poet Claudia Nogueira Penso. And this is one of the books that I read. I read many Venezuelan poets as I was writing my book because I wanted to be in conversation with them, and also because I wanted to see how I could talk about something if I wasn't there. And how can I come close to expressing what I wanted to by being in a different land, in a different reality, and speaking a different language. This is from a book called Caracas Mortal, and is a collection of prose poems, and they're all untitled. Esta no es una capital, no es una ciudad, no es un pueblo. Es solo una Caracas mortal en medio de cualquier cosa, que no entendemos, que nos desconcierta hasta la rabia. Es sal sobre la herida. Es sentirse en medio de la nada con un alarido atrapado en la garganta. And so the line that stuck with me here is sal sobre la herida, salt on the wound. So I'm going to read a few poems from Study of the Raft. And they are actually about the city of Caracas, where I was born and spent a lot of time during my youth. This is Arabian Nights Remix. Caracas, February 4, 1992. Tonight, a commander in olive uniform declares war against the background of a TV studio. Now and forever, this revolution will be recorded in the annals of history. My mother's foot softly taps on the floor, and for a moment, the camera wobbles, but the commander doesn't seem to notice. I clutched my copy of Arabian Nights, the cover scabbed and peeling. I traced the outlines of dome palaces and flying carpets half-heartedly colored by the book's previous owners. Everyone believes a silver tongue, says one character after listening to Scheherazade lull the Sultan to sleep. The commander calls everyone to arms. Justice will come swiftly to those who oppose us. I consider my parents' warnings. If we don't come home, someone will keep you safe. Their faces flickering in and out of view in the bluish light of the screen, while between the pages, a woman gets to live another day. I've been prey for most of my life and content warning for sexual assault. In the subway, a man pressed against my hips. On the bus, a hand on my thigh. Someone's sweat drips onto my pores. Eyes lift up my skirts, crawl inside my shirt. At home, my mother's uncle tangles his leg between mine. Let me show you. Get closer. My hand in his other hand, I don't remember. My mother howls, pounds her fist on his chest, pulls our shadows apart. She knows what it is to be hunted, to dodge the bullets of others' desire. We shroud ourselves in silence, and still they come, call us names. Virgen, puta, madre, puta, hija. Don't let them touch you. Don't give yourself away. Don't. This next poem is titled Gospel, and it's after One Shot's Rotten Town, which was a video that came out in the early 2000s about the violence in the city of Caracas, and the government tried to censor the video, but it went viral. And One Shot was actually shot, I think a year after the video was viral, and luckily he recovered and currently lives in Mexico City. Gospel. Bullet drops spit on the bus's plastic windows. Clothes glued to skin, bodies steam in the aisle. Green uniforms and red berets on every corner. In this city, we walk with those already gone, transformed in the red cocoon of a failed revolution. The river's overflow drags pieces of tin roofs, a door, a diaper, food wrappers. 200 murders this week, reads a headline. We march to honor the fallen, students, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, sons and daughters, bodies piling at the morgue, untagged, unclaimed, unbagged, and bound to a trigger. Murder as prayer and redemption. Why can I have what they have? Says a prisoner when asked about his activities. At the bus station, street vendors sell 30-centimeter statues of former criminals. Heroes? So when a child takes a life, they know they'll always be forgiven. Circus. A man once held a gun to my stomach, his eyes looking beyond. As a kid, I watched a trainer prod an elephant's body into submission with an electric rod. Another put his head inside a lion's maw, the creature's eyes as unnerved as the man who held his gun tight against my stomach, trembling like the elephant's feet while balanced on a tiny block, like the lion as he smelled prey he couldn't touch. In my dreams, I see not the glassy eyes of animals, but a finger, a trigger, an eye. A body can only hold so much before it lets it all go. And I'm gonna make a little break here, and I'm gonna read another poem in Spanish by another Venezuelan poet, Leonardo Padrón. And this one is connected more to exile, and it's called Errancia. Un barco que nunca llega. Un depósito con tus almohadas. Un hoyo para la ceniza de las palabras. Un techo para los días rotos. Un cesto de viejas noticias. Una mandarina en blanco y negro. Allá en la herida donde me busco. And again, for me, this last line was the one that I can relate to. It's in the wound where I look for myself. And so this is Still Life in Exile. Papa calls again. Your cousin died in jail. A policeman came last night, says I'm on the list. A grocery list on my night table. I left a country where politicians play in red berets while people die for a pair of shoes. Hunger has too many faces. Papa's short-circuited breath brings me back. People are disappearing. You can't make this up, yet people write books about it. The silence of citizenship. My lips press against the screen. On the other end, the fear of betrayal. Bellum civile. The Reina Sofia, a Dali landscape. Within these walls, times preserved in oil and linen. Bodies spread against the walls, draping over benches, seeking relief from this Madrid summer. A woman sketches the smile of the flamboyant wings, hand fluttering trance-like up and down the page. We cross half-lit thresholds to finally arrive at the alcove where Picasso's Guernica hangs among the quiet devotion of visitors. In the silence, my mother's words. A civil war is kin against kin. My brother and I fight a lot, but I know she means that what we witness on TV is what that is, a name, a body, a gun. It's impossible to look and not label. Bull mother, pigeon child, dead burning, house light, bulb woman, raised man, arms pleading, the eye of the bomb, the eye is the bomb. Horror just a stanchion away. A sign screams, favor no tocar, please do not touch. What is there to touch? And I'm gonna read one more poem. And I call this my angry poem. And this is for all immigrants, exiles who have left their country and have been asked to leave or to go back. I am not leaving. There is a brittle quality to plant life, a browning that disintegrates to the touch and sticks to the skin. I am not from this land, but off it, the body an unwanted guest. I've learned to ignore the glare of morning, to read the glyphs of ashes, to groan with a coastal oak. During the summer months, the hawk's quiet, and my oral map feels incomplete, disjointed, yet alert to the smallest glimpse of a fir sprouting instead of life, or maybe because of it. A farmer once told me about prescribed burns, and before he explained, I thought of a pharmacy prescription no one would refill, which shows how little I know about the subject. I've come to understand that in this land, fire consumes to make space for new language, one I cannot speak. So I touch the surfaces around me, whisper incantations, wave my arms above my head, baptize myself with whiskey until my skin begins to peel like the crimson leaves of a maple, and all that is left is the crusty skin of old earth. Under it, all the words at my disposal. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Leonora. Thank you so much for those beautiful words. Those last two poems were fire. Thank you so much for sharing. Love the line of fire. This places fire on language. That was really neat. Bueno, moviéndonos para nuestra segunda poeta de la noche. Please join me in welcoming our second feature of the night. Olga García Echeverría was born and raised in East Los Angeles, California, and is the author of Falling Angels, Cuentos y Poemas. Her poetry and essays appear in numerous anthologies, print magazines, and online literary venues. She has been an educator in the literary arts for over 25 years and currently teaches literature in the Chicanx Latinx Studies Department at California State University of Los Angeles. For the past decade, under the leadership of Poets and Writers and California Center for the Book, she has worked as a bilingual workshop leader for the Rural Libraries Tour, which facilitates creative writing workshops in rural and underserved areas of California. She and Maile Blackwell are the literary executors for the beloved Colombian-American lesbian poet and publisher Tatiana de la Tierra. So, bienvenida, Olga, take it away.
Muchas gracias. Thank you so much, Leonora, for those very powerful and beautiful poems, por tu testimonio. Muchas gracias. Y muchas gracias a Lisbeth por la invitación, por poder estar aquí con todos ustedes. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to start off with a poem. I think I'm just going to sort of read. They're short poems, and I'm just going to sort of read through them. Este cuerpo es mío, which also resulted from anger, going to the doctor, and you know, they want to put you in that box and they want to use that chart. So, este cuerpo es mío. Cuando me dice la doctora que estoy sobrepeso, me carcajeo en su cara de yeso. Mis dientes de oro brillan, mi mal aliento la hace llorar. Soy una cebolla gigantesca, recién partida en su mesa. Sobrepeso tu maquillaje, le digo. Ya no soy la educada de antes y la vanidad es un vestido viejo que me aprieta. Ahora, cuando me miro al espejo, sonrío Soy un coco despeinado, un plátano con pecas en la piel, un flan feliz bailando sin brasiel. Este cuerpo es mío, con sus manchas, cicatrices, celulitis, lo cojo, lo celebro, lo amo, lo lamo, lo declaro maravilla, fruta de vida madurando, como los cuerpos de los dátiles arrugándose, endulzándose en el sol. Gracias. Este poema, un mensaje de Malinche, because she talks to me. And yes, I'll just read it. Un mensaje de Malinche. ¿A quién le interese? Mi nombre se lo tragaron sin permiso, primero los hombres de mi tierra y luego los conquistadores extranjeros, que aunque se lo creían, no eran dioses, eran hombres. Mi nombre verdadero se deshizo en el viento, en las llamas fanáticas de sacerdotes y soldados. Cuerpo, hueso, ceniza. Cada quien me pinta como le da la gana. Diz que soy la madre indígena de tal mestizo, amante, traidora, traductora, la lengua de varias lenguas, víctima, captiva, esclava, sobreviviente, valiente, el arquetipo de la mera chingada que chingó todo. No chinguen. A mí no me reduzcan a chivo expiatorio, birria de babosos. Bloom. We had no treasure island, yet we treasured sandwiches de sardinas, aceitunas verdes in our tamales, pitted black olives straight from the can. We didn't read or care about Huckleberry Finn. We chewed a navaja sliced sugarcane, sought out parentless adventures in las calles, spoke our Mexican-American pidgin speak. We never had the book Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. We had Chocolate Abuelita and Mole Maria. We were bookless children, yet languages on our tongues like calabaza flowers bloomed. A few wonderful things about the tongue. The tongue has got a life force of its own. Try to conquer it, try to bury it, try to build a wall around it. It will find a way out. La lengua, it's the only muscle in the body that works without skeletal support. This is why when the flesh withers and the bone crackles, las abuelas y los abuelos can still cuss up a storm, tell the wildest tales with the sharpest of tongues. Notice how even the tongues of the dead keep talking to us long after they've crossed over. I feel like lately poetry is one of the only things that makes sense to me, and it's just constantly what keeps catching me and helping me make sense of a lot of brokenness in the world, and even within family constellations and trying to heal. This is titled Altars in the Sky, and I think that the poems that I'm reading, some of these all kind of have thematically dealing with that healing. Yeah, altares en el cielo. Mamá was taken away at 4. Her mamá perdió la razón. Her reason, her mind was broken. Papa was broken at an age too tender to remember his father shot. He says he only remembers the ghost. Broken. Family across borders. When relatives died, there was no return. Home was memory, broken. The windows of my childhood home were broken. Dust, wind, winter seeped in, always the soundtrack of the ocean becoming, always the soundtrack of the freeway becoming an ocean. The broken pieces like broken mirrors, shimmering in the sunlight like dispersed jewels. I gather them all, mis almas, anímicas, my collective soul. I breathe, they flutter. I build altars in the sky. They visit like migrating birds. I stretch, they touch back. I bloom, we heal. This is a poem for Cihuacuatl. I want to just say Cihuacuatl translates into serpent woman in Nahuatl, and she is part of a very powerful Aztec pantheon of earth goddesses. She's associated with fertility, midwifery, and motherhood. When women died in childbirth, it was Cihuacuatl who came to cradle and collect their souls. Cihuacuatl is also known to warn of the coming of destruction, to snatch children, and to haunt crossroads where she once lost her own child. Cihuacuatl's tears from losing her own son were so plentiful that they birthed what is now the Lake Xochimilco in Mexico City. And this is our pre-Columbian, Mesoamerican Llorona, Cihuacuatl at the crossroads. Cihuacuatl, dressed in white, is zigzagging across the continent with the cradle on her back. Have you seen her? She is the earth goddess, scaled, skinned ghost woman who lost her child at the crossroads. Call it a river, call it a border, call it a courthouse. She's gone back to look for her child. She always goes back to look for her child. But in place of her baby, she finds sharp daggers. Cihuacuatl, part woman, part serpent, takes the daggers. She has always taken the daggers. She has carefully tucked them into the folds of her skirt, underneath her wing sleeves, behind her ears, beneath her forked tongue. She carries a dagger. Cihuacuatl, she once wept so much her tears filled up an entire lake. Now she is deep water, obsidian clawed woman waiting for me, for you, for us to cross her. Encarnación. I saw her tears flood a Missouri courthouse, La Llorona encarnada, corralled, detained, imprisoned, deported, without her baby. They said it was her own fault for working with the false Social Security at a chicken plant that got raided by ICE. They said it was her own fault for migrating. She is a migrating mother, migrating woman, body tattooed with visible and invisible etchings, remappings across land, ocean, sky, abdomen, heart. She is all the unmarked crosses across nation states, paperless in the wind. She is flight and flesh of dreams, thorn thistle of thirst, blooming purple at the throat. Have you seen her? I saw her streaming, broken-faced on the internet. La Llorona, reincarnated. I saw her. You must have, for a split second, seen her too. And I'm going to end with this poem, All the Flowers. Can a poem hold our brokenness? I hold on to the metaphors and the stories that survived. A severed head is hung on a barren tree. It blooms fruit, and against all odds, a new generation is born. The moon, dismembered by her brother, makes of her own brokenness a song of rattles, a brilliant cosmic dance. Can a woman's body, trigger warning, dumped on a highway in a trash bag, be transformed, reborn in a poem? Can a poem hold her? Can a poem hold us? When I need it most, I can hear poetry, drumming its beak into the wood of a tall tree insistently. There are bees everywhere. There are flowers everywhere. Did you know the ancestors of butterflies moved away from nocturnal battles towards sunlight because they hungered for sweetness over war? Poetry is my ladder to the sky and the net that catches me as I tumble from the stars. The poem I am writing into existence is a vision prayer. Look at all the luminous bodies of women returned to us. Look how we rise from the belly of the earth, whole and protected. Look how we grow translucent wings as the sunlight dances around us. Thank you, everybody.
Gracias a ti, Olga. Thank you so much for those beautiful poems. This role, someone mentioned in the chat, and last poem, Todas las Flores, a beautiful poem. And Siwakwat, really love that one. Okay, so definitely be looking at the chat for links to each of the poets' work, whether it's books or their own website. Feel free to take a look at that. At the end of the program, if we happen to have a few minutes, there can also be a Q&A with the panelists tonight. So if you have a question, feel free to write that in the chat as we get closer to the end of the program. So now let's welcome in our third feature of the night. Nuestra tercera poeta, Iris de Anda, is a Huanaca Tapatía poet, speaker, and musician who has been featured with KPFK and KPFA Pacifica Radio, organized with the Academy of American Poets, performed at Los Angeles Latino Book Festival, Feria del Libro Tijuana, Casa de las Americas in Havana, Cuba, and is named one of today's revolutionary women of color. She is the author of Code Switch, Fires from Mi Corazón, and Roots of Redemption, You Have No Right to Remain Silent, recently published by Flowersong Press. Demos la bienvenida a Iris de Anda.
Oh, muchas gracias. I'm so blessed to be here with all of you. I love all these women right here, Lisbeth, Olga, Leonora. You and I have not met yet, but we will. And so let's just get into it, okay? Saturday, March, quarantine 2020. I wake up with anxiety, and mid-dream, they tell me a secret. The dark carries so much light. I can see inside of skeletons. The closets are open wide and people are screaming silently, piercing the air of our sanctuary. It's getting loud out here. The world is colliding with egos. Tu amor no es suficiente. Ahora puedo ver más allá de este azul. Echoes of skin once touching, lifting the bandages from an open wound. Look at the crimson pain, painted over scars. Scared is what they want. Submissive bodies waiting for how long? Some of us don't know how to follow orders, holding spirit at the tip of our tongue. Alone with the candlelight, chant us somewhere near because it's feeling far, and tell me where to go from here. Screenshot the last person you remember near. We will make it through it, my dear. Ancient echoes knock on walls. In this house, we are daydreaming. Our body temple whole. En tu casa todo cambió. Everyone spread their loneliness across the screen. And when they come and tell you what to do, you run into the supermarket. Remember, you forgot the lemons while singing in aisles of warm lullabies and soap. Clean the government cabinets with vinegar, mixed with half-truths. Illusion tube is on the rise and feeding fear into the veins of the future, and you're buying in, sinking into the abyss of this comedy that has become your life. Stuck in a bedroom with windows that lead to horizons far beyond Italy and China. When it gets dark, the stars are lonely too. When it gets dark, the stars are lonely too. Quarantine the ants and they show up in mass droves in parking lots. Stay put, darling. It's for your own good. Stay in, my love. It'll save the bees. Stay with me, but far away. It will make sense sometime soon or never. However, stay grounded in Pachamama's womb. Just stay. Okay, here we go. It's so good to be here with you guys. This is from my new book, Roots of Redemption. It's called 10-4. Wakes up, lace up, black boots, purple and blue baton, and packs bullets for breakfast, lines pockets with Miranda rights, will never turn left, especially when following orders, starts the day slow, draws out the gun out of the reflex. When dark skin comes into sight and slangs power on their belt while a hook'em and book'em anthem sings berries and cherries to the masses, only wears a body cam when it doesn't clash with the victim's blood or rights. Masks up the bros bill of secrets, because this is the gang, the new hood mafia, the wannabe sheriffs in town. The red apple of the machine, and they kill one a day and leave our children to play and leaves us to grieve while nobody pays justice to society. There is no black, only white. There are no good cops, only bad scenes. Okay, guys, I'm gonna roll. I try to do poetry about love and things, but it never comes out right. I only write poems about like things that happen. This is for the reclaimers. We're a group in El Sereno. We were trying to like help the homeless. I was homeless myself for 2 months at one point. And anyway, we'll just get into the poem. It's called Recoup 2020. Am I not deserving of nice things? Of a doorway that leads home, of a window to call my own, of dirty dishes that can sit for hours, of hallways that echo memories, of a bookshelf that needs dusting, of a roof I can stare at from my bed sheets that hold my flesh and sin and sueños. 4 walls, the house of the North Star, East Side Los Angeles, La Casa del Sur, West Coast for directions, roof of my mouth, floor catches my fall as above, so below. Are we not deserving of nice things? 20 families in search for more. The neighbor kicks the door. The glass cuts through skin pores and California Highway Patrol rollers with hog ties and rolls. Orders to restore empty homes, housing the ghost of a Caltrans corridor. Crimes against humanity, capitalist mentality, brutal symphony, disrupt ceremony of hearth. Mi cuerpo un caracol. Rebirth, reclaim, rename ourselves rebellion. Remember our abuelos' wrath. We are the rose that grew from blood. We are the bullet that resurrects. We are the key that opens the chest. Are we not deserving of nice things? I have bolt cutters to the gate, showing up in the morning of your American dream, and I blow off some steam in your coffee cup. Gonna make you drop the routine. This is no longer make-believe. This is a 2021 reality. Burst in with the candor of your lust. This life is more explicit than it seems. Us seeking shelter rearranges your dreams. Us piercing into the nightmare streams because you're one paycheck away from our extreme. It makes you mad at a 9-to-5 slave mentality. You wake up midlife crisis. Someone is already dead. And you realize you are me. That's a heavy one. That's a heavy one. Thank you guys. Oh, Lisbeth, I'm so happy for your collection, and Olga, and like our other sister. Leonora, I can't say your name right. Leonora. Okay, I'll do one more. Let's do this one. This one. Ready? Sorry, guys, I'm just. Okay, here we go. I want to make you feel better before I leave, because like my poetry brings a lot of things up. Blow up, okay? Ready? Our skin sun-kissed at birth. Some keep reaching for el sol, look under rocks and white hoods for answers their ancestors forgot to keep. Our abuelas tucked amulets into our braids, formed alliances with the trees to carry messages through the roots to find us, whispered Pachamama lullabies into our veins, and made our mamas strong with traditions and cuentos. Our gente is pure gold reflecting el sol. Place us anywhere in the world and we shine sunrise. Working when no one else wants to, stretching fingertips into the fields and factories of capitalism, placing one foot in front of the other, feeling blessed in this bruised world. Some of them mistake our brilliance for brutality. They take our lives under the veil of democracy while spitting racist fumes of self-hate. Our abuelos raised us with a steady hand, and they placed dirt under our fingernails so we would always have soil to plant gardens. They strummed guitar strings into our hair to dance with the people around us, made our fathers soft with dreams and drive. Our gente is the minerals that reflect life. Place us in cages and we become songbirds of resilience, bringing light to dark histories, awakening the masses to the massacre of freedom, screaming soft cries in front of a wailing wall, feeling betrayed by El Norte. The North Star blinded the people. It healed the people and freed the people. It numbed the people and hurted the people. The sun woke up the people. Our nanas and tatas encoded stars and maps into our eyes to guide us through this dark stage in the United States of America. You can glow up whenever you want to. Tlazocamati, thank you so much.
Tlazocamati Iris, thank you so much for those poems. Snaps to you and to all our features tonight. Thank you so much. I just want to say really quick, also, if you are enjoying our program tonight, definitely feel free to donate to Beyond Baroque if you have the means. Would be greatly appreciated as we put on more programs for the literary community and support authors local and nationally. So moving on to our final feature of the night, nuestra última poeta de la noche. Lisbeth Coiman is a writer and educator from Venezuela. Her debut book, I Asked the Blue Heron, a memoir, explores the intersection between migration and mental health. Her poetry collection, Uprising, Alzamiento, portrays the face of the uprising in Venezuela's complex political unrest and draws attention to the unprecedented humanitarian crisis in the once wealthy nation. Coiman currently lives in Los Angeles, California. So demos la bienvenida a Lisbeth, all yours.
Muchas gracias, Iván. Muchas gracias a Beyond Baroque por aceptar mi propuesta. Muchas gracias, Leonora, Iris y Olga, por aceptar mi invitación. Estoy muy honrada de trabajar con ustedes esta noche y muchas gracias a toda la audiencia por haber aceptado la invitación. Yo voy a hablar y a leer solo en español, porque hoy me siento como para honrar mi lengua. Algunas veces uno quiere hablarle a una amiga y decirle las 4 verdades bien dichas y hay que sacar la lengua sin pelo. De mujer a mujer, a Venezuela. Mujer, te hablo sin pelos en la lengua, sin una gaveta por dentro donde guardar verdades no dichas. Aquí tienes este mojito, tómate un trago. Joven, atractiva, educada e inmensamente rica, no eres otra cosa que una pobre incauta. Has caído en cuanta trampa te han tendido. Primero te calientan la oreja, te mueven como marioneta y tan pronto abres las piernas, te golpean, te secuestran, te violan, te esclavizan, te matan de mengua. No para disfrutar tu cuerpo, que por cierto, estás bien buena. Lo que quieren es vivir de tu espalda, malditos chulos, echándose aire en las bolas, dilapidando tu infinita riqueza. ¿Está fuerte el mojito? Toma con calma, mujer. Te quiero alerta, no ebria. Es que me echó tierrita en los ojos. Ay, ya ves dónde te llevó con su labia, convertida en una mendiga en harapos, comiendo del camión de la basura, arrojándote a diestra y siniestra por una limosna para alimentar tu prole. Es que no puedo ver tanto niño muriendo de hambre. Mira el alcahuete, dice que te defenderá, mientras iza bandera, no la tuya, sino la de sus amigos. Mira su reloj de pulsera, su avión privado, sus festines dignos de reyes. ¿De dónde crees que salieron? ¿De sus ventas a domicilios, de productos Avon? Su verdadera cara está escondida detrás de una bandera caduca. Cada vez que un nuevo rufián llega a tu puerta a calentar tu oreja, vuelves a caer en el mismo truco y le ofreces tu botija. Con el peso del sueño todavía sobre tus párpados, te sientas en una mesita en el parque a jugar ajedrez. Los curiosos se detienen a observar tus jugadas. Desde la acera te grito: ¡mi reina! Deja de ser tan pendeja, reúne a tus hijos y libérate a ti misma. En el medio de la pandemia, yo decidí apostarle al amor y tomar riesgos. Y después me pregunté, ¿cómo será el encuentro de amantes furtivos en un país totalitario? Mousse de parchita con un capuchino. Se me antoja un mousse de parchita con un capuchino. El olor a hierba dulce calma mis inhibiciones. Una Yamaha XS650 vibra entre mis piernas en camino al lugar del encuentro. Esquivo las alcabalas de la Guardia Nacional, los colectivos, esos asesinos a sueldo, los secuestros express y me escondo de la llorona que anda por ahí con una corona en la cabeza. Los bachaqueros, acaparando los condones, me venden 2 tetas, unas bolsitas plásticas con 50 gramos de café y leche en polvo. Al acelerar mi máquina, bolívares desechables cubren las calles de mi vecindario, bailan en remolinos. Paso por la cabeza de un tigre sobre un montón de basura. Ratas de fiesta sobre sus ojos. Escasez de máscaras y guantes de látex me alertan en contra de visitas a domicilio en tiempos de COVID. Y llego a esta oscuridad, donde el deseo me espera. Tienta mis papilas gustativas, me voltea al revés. En carne viva, vulnerable, expuesta. Diamantes azules destellan en mi piel hasta que llego a ese punto, al fondo de la tarta, y me abandono al placer. Prodigioso fruto de pasión. Saboreo la crema del último pedacito. De vuelta a casa, las tetas ofrecen un guarapo débil, una imitación vil del capuchino anticipado, recordándome que para mantenerme viva, debo atreverme a montar mi moto a medianoche. La experiencia que necesitas. Amar. Me perdí. La experiencia que necesitas. La experiencia vivida. Amar sin la promesa de un mañana, sin reciprocidad, en la profundidad de este confinamiento. Experiencia necesaria en la tarea inacabable de transformación. Y esta dedicada a mis compañeras de esta noche. Arboleda de Banyan, Jardín Botánico de la Costa Sur, Península de Palos Verdes, Condado de Los Ángeles. La higuera maciza de la Bahía Moretón, erguida al centro de este sistema de raíces superficiales construido por el hombre, crece rápido, robusta, desplazada, en una tierra extranjera, cada árbol autosuficiente, confinado por la carretera a su alrededor, como nosotras, tan lejos de la sombra del bosque, siempre incómodas. Calles señalizadas limitan nuestra expansión y sin embargo, nos apoyamos unas a otras y prosperamos. En mi libro Alzamiento, recuerdo a los hombres que alguna vez amé. Ya no somos de este mundo. Hoy me dices que te has convertido en un salvaje. Todos lo somos. Me cuesta creerte, porque lo que recuerdo de ti es el olor aníspero entre tus piernas, enclochando suavemente tu Dodge Dart blanco, por ahí, por el 82. Le damos la vuelta a la rueda. Comemos cajas de comida podrida para entretener al hambre. No hay proteína suficiente para alimentar la esperanza. La estructura moral deshecha. Se valida el crimen como forma de vida. Se sacrifican tigres por la ilusión de la eternidad. En la pandemia, sin internet o electricidad para ir a la escuela, plantamos semillas de acetaminofén para curar nuestras enfermedades. Todos somos salvajes ahora, metamorfoseados en mapaches comiendo del camión de la basura. Ya no somos de este mundo. En las calles de mi pueblo, sonriéndole a los peatones, tu voz humana susurraba, sí, mami, mientras te devoraba centímetro a centímetro con mis labios. Era una salvaje entonces, lo soy ahora, al recordar nuestra juventud desde este vasto espacio entre tu horror y mi comodidad. Este es el último poema de mi colección y después de este voy a leer lo que me quepa en el espacio que queda de mi próxima colección Parchita. Redescubriendo. Al principio era yo con el pequeño él. Cuando te conocí, tú y yo nos convertimos en nosotros con un pequeño él. Luego llegó un él más chiquito y estuvimos completos. La inmigración me desencajó a nivel celular. Ese pasaporte con el documento Landed Immigrant canadiense conmemorando mi entrada a esta realidad anglo me transformó. Por un tiempo fuimos tú y yo y los dos él. El yo empujando, animando, apoyando. Nosotros sobrevivimos, progresamos, llegamos a alguna parte. Con el tú y los dos él ganando la mayor parte, mientras el yo se fue quedando más atrás cada vez del nosotros. Con el tiempo, el pasaporte desapareció en algún lugar dentro de una gaveta de la cocina con los otros objetos descartados de la vida doméstica y las promesas conyugales incumplidas. El símbolo de mi identidad, la ciudadanía del país testigo de mi nacimiento, donde viví los primeros 32 años, con mi sueño de un PhD en literatura latinoamericana, descansando sobre las sábanas junto a mi sexualidad aniquilada por una chaqueta de fuerza química. Alzamiento de los síntomas de las decepciones duraderas. Me separé del nosotros para transformarme. En mi éxodo me llevé solo lo necesario para sobrevivir. La esposa dorada ahora rota en una pieza de museo en una caja oscura, destetándome del último cóctel sin saber el arco completo de mi historia. Consciente, redescubriéndome, yo lejos del tú para completarme otra vez. Conseguí mi viejo pasaporte de la República de Venezuela, pesado con la historia contemporánea de mi tierra natal, sitiada, saqueada, ultrajada, esclavizada y forzada a entregar su nombre original, bautizada con el idioma de la agonía, marcada con símbolos de cliché, una nueva estrella, un caballo mirando a la izquierda, una constitución fosilizando en el poder en manos del mismo adalid per secula seculorum, cuando los suyos eran ya símbolos únicos. Encontré esta realidad estrafalaria, donde los fantasmas deambulan por los pasillos de edificios baldíos y donde las madres paren sueños mortinatos. En esta transformación retomo el contacto con mi espiritualidad insertada en el glosario del resentimiento, perdonando a mis padres por su incapacidad de amarme y a los bárbaros que estrangularon a mi gente, jurando lealtad solo al mandamiento del amor, sin temor a embarazos indeseados ni a las malas lenguas. Una mujer dueña de su sexualidad, aprendiendo a aceptar rechazos, procurando mi propio pan de cada día, sujeto y testigo de mi historia, redescubriendo, morena, loca, venezolana, escritora, procuradora de conciencias, maestras, 3 nacionalidades tatuadas en mi compleja identidad, pero sin visa de entrada a mi país natal. Conectándome a la diáspora de la disidencia de guarenas, guatires, mucuchíes, a Los Ángeles, levantándome por mí misma y por ti, madre patria, Venezuela, junto a los guerreros del teclado en nuestras guaridas alrededor del mundo. ¿Tengo tiempo? Do I have time?
Sí, para uno más.
Ok. Ok, me perdí otra vez. El poder de un prefijo. No soy bilingüe porque pueda insertar palabras en español en versos largos en inglés. Soy bilingüe porque en mis sueños las ñes y las r's escurren por mi lengua como caramelitos de maní. No soy bicultural por ser venezolana y estadounidense. Soy bicultural porque puedo encontrar los silencios entre líneas en nuestra historia compartida. No sufro de desorden bipolar porque fluctúo entre los extremos de la tristeza y la exaltación. Sufro de desorden bipolar porque puedo ver tu racismo desde la Antártica hasta el Ártico. No soy bisexual porque pueda entretenerlos a ustedes dos. Soy bisexual porque te puedo satisfacer a ti y a mí misma con la misma intensidad. Fluida, su cuerpo, un ánfora moldeada con pechos y caderas amplias. Contiene un río fluyendo contra la corriente. Su energía rehúsa rutas premeditadas. Corre con matices de amor y sufrimiento, carmín sobre sus labios, testosterona en la punta de sus dedos, agua dulce, nunca serena, femme amazona. Muchas gracias por aceptar mi invitación. Ha sido un honor trabajar para ustedes hoy.
Muchas gracias, Lisbeth. Thank you all to our features tonight. If you can please turn on your screen, and for everyone joining us, please show them some love in the chat. We're posting links to all of their books en their chat estamos poniendo links a todos los libros de las autoras esta noche. Muchas gracias a todas. ¿Alguien de las panelistas? ¿Cómo? Perdón.
Somebody's asking to give the pages. Okay, continue.
Bueno, si tenían algo que añadir a las escritoras el día de hoy, algunos anuncios que quisieran compartir antes de acabar la noche. No, bueno, I will just say definitely feel free to check out the books of each author. We are linking it in the chat, and we'll be seeing everyone in our next program. Vamos a estar viéndonos en el siguiente programa. But thank you so much to all our future readers tonight. Muchas gracias a todas y buenas noches. Thank you all so much.
Gracias.
Que tengan un buen fin de semana.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias a todos.
Lisbeth, nomás quiero decir felicitaciones. Your work is amazing. Cuando lees en español es como, no puedo más. Y muchas gracias por invitarnos, Olga and Leonora. It was a pleasure. Ivan, thank you for having us. And all the readers out there. Everybody, reading is sexy. You guys should buy books.
Definitely. Well, a todas, adiós.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Nos quedamos nosotras dos. No,
No
todavía.
sé cómo. Ok, ya me voy.
Dale.
Oh, felicidades, Lisbeth. Thank you.
Gracias.
Te quiero mucho.
Gracias a ti, tú también. A ti también.
Okay.